Hello. In this episode, we'll be talking about perception. So let's get stuck in. Perception is a really fascinating topic because it literally affects everything. It affects how we see the world around us and our relationships, how we show up in the world, how we respond and react to things. And every person has a unique perspective of the world due to their experiences, emotions, and beliefs. And this means that what one person perceives as reality might be entirely different from what another person sees. Perception can be influenced by a variety of factors, such as culture, upbringing, and personal experiences. For example, two people might see the same situation unfold, but they might interpret it in a completely different way based on their past experiences. Say, for example, a car accident. Imagine two people witness a car accident. One person might see the accident as a tragic event, while another might view it as a minor inconvenience. The person who sees it as a tragic event might have experienced a similar accident in the past with an unpleasant outcome. And so they might be more sensitive to pain and suffering of others, but their experience from before is now impacting how they feel about this situation. And then in contrast, the person who sees it as a minor inconvenience might have never ever experienced a car accident before, and they're just so busy focusing on their day that actually they're just like, oh, I've had to sit in traffic for a bit, and it doesn't really impact them. But the same event, two massively contrasting experiences of the event. Like the person who, is a minor inconvenience goes off and happily carries on with work for the day, whereas the other person who's experienced a very distressing accident before sees this accident and it brings up potential trauma for them, or it can trigger things for them, but that was their previous experience. So this doesn't even have to be a major accident, but yet it will trigger those emotions for that person. So because it's their perception of it. And this just illustrates how perception can be subjective and personal. No two people will have the same perception. And our perception is shaped by our emotions. Your emotions can color our perception and make us see the world in a particular way. And they can also cloud our judgment and make us misinterpret situations. So, for example, a couple having an argument, both partner will see things completely differently due to their perception of the world. And they will remember an argument completely differently due to how they were feeling at the time, other memories that they had that influenced them, and their beliefs. It might not even be an argument. It might be a text message. Texting is one of the worst because everyone's perceptions are different. So if you're sometimes, it might have happened to you, but I'm trying to think, you write a message and you send it with good intentions. It's actually you feel it's a really positive message to your partner, and your partner reads it and they've had a really rubbish day at work. They're feeling a bit low. Their vibes are not high. They're on the floor and they're feeling pretty rubbish. And they read your message and they interpret it completely differently because of how they're feeling when they read it. And so things get misconstrued so easily. And this is where clear communication, talking is the best because you can hear intonation of the voice, and any misconstrued messages can be cleared up quickly and easily, providing everyone is grown up and big enough and not afraid, not stepping in fear to say, hey, well, that didn't come across very well. That didn't sound good. Because often we're all we're too scared to say, oh, well, actually, that didn't feel that good for me. Thanks. Whatever you just said, there wouldn't be all this miscommunication and all these arguments because we can't control what others say. But often it's just people's perception. And if people were clearer about what they really meant and spoke up and spoke to each other, then misconceptions would be cleared up much easier. So I hope that makes some sense. But if you've got any experiences of that, then great, get in touch, email me, and then I'll share it on the next episode. because our perception is not only influenced by our past experiences and emotions, but also by our beliefs. And our beliefs can be so ingrained in us that we don't even realize that they're shaping our perception. And if you don't have awareness of any of this, that life's so much easier when you do have awareness of this stuff. When you don't, you just think, oh, why are they being such an arse about something? Or why is he being so reactive? Or why is she talking to me like that? Why is my boss being such DICK today? Everyone's got their own things going on, and everybody's got their own little narratives in their head and their own perceptions of what's going on. So sometimes it might be, if someone you think is being rude to you, ask them outright, is everything okay? Have I done something to wind you up or annoy you because you don't seem very happy with me today? And actually, your perception might be way off. It might turn out that they had a really bad day in the morning before they came to work. It's actually got nothing to do with you, but your experiences and beliefs are making you feel insecure that you've done something wrong. But actually, it's not about you at all. And often it isn't. Normally, it's about the other person. Going back to our beliefs can be so ingrained in us that we don't even realize that they're shaping our perception. So like I said, if you didn't felt like your boss was being stressy with you and you thought you'd done something wrong, and that's your perception of it, when actually if you clearly communicated with your boss and just asked if everything was all right, they might share with you that they've just had a really crappy morning or they had some bad news before they came into work. So actually, your perception was completely skewed, and that your perception of what was happening could be a belief that you picked up when you were a child. Might have been that actually, if your parents were in a bad mood, often they'd blame you for it. And so now you've come into adulthood and you're like, oh, perception of anyone who's in a bad mood, well, it's got to be my fault because mum and dad always used to say, oh, I was in such a bad mood because of you. And then that's a belief that's stuck in your subconscious and you just don't even realize it. So awareness is key. Check out the episode on awareness. It really shapes everything, our perception and our beliefs and our experiences. For example, a person who believes that the world is a dangerous place might perceive danger in situations where there's no real threat. Again, might have lived somewhere where, there were more threats and they became anxious, their emotions, their energy in motion. So then the fear and the low vibrational emotions that they're feeling, and they've just come to the conclusion that, yeah, the world's dangerous. But actually, there's someone else who's skipping down the road, blissfully happy, not experiencing that at all. It's perception. And one of the interesting things about perception is that it's not fixed. Our perception can change over time as we gain new experiences and knowledge. Knowledge is power, guys. Like, I love to read and I read books all the time. Non-fiction, I love reading and learning about the power of our minds and how this stuff works. And I have read probably for the past 2 decades, because when you do know and we've got this knowledge, you can change them. You then have the means to power and the power to shape our perception by being open to new experiences and learning from them, because we've learned how it works, how the mind is working. It's also really important to recognize that everyone has a different perception of the world, and that is okay. It's what makes us unique. However, it's important to be aware of our own perception and recognize that it might not be the only way to see a situation. And by being open to others' perspectives, we can broaden our own understanding and gain a more nuanced view of the world. In conclusion, perception is a complex and personal aspect of our lives that shapes the way that we see the world. It is influenced by a variety of factors, including our past experiences, emotions, and beliefs. And by recognizing that everyone has a different perception of the world, we can become more empathetic and open-minded individuals who are better equipped to navigate the complexities of the world around us. It's cool stuff when you know it, and it really does improve relationships. So have fun, listen to it again, take from it what you will. But thanks for joining me. See you next time.